This is one of the most curious ufological conferences of all time and was held on August 7 and 8 of 1954. This meeting was held on the summit of Mount Palomar, over 2,000 meters high, in front of the rustic lodge called Skyline Lodge. The Congress had been convened by three of the most famous contactees, George Adamski, Truman Bethune, and Daniel Fry. More than 1,000 people attended, including American and foreign journalists, police officers, FBI agents, airline pilots, witnesses of sightings, and simple snoopers. Each of those contacted told of their own experience and took the opportunity to sell their autographed book. When it was Adamski's turn, the professor explained that the Venusians were very similar to human beings, so much so that they had infiltrated and were now living in the big cities. He also presented a painting that was the artistic representation of a Venusian. In the evening of the first day, there was a huge stir when the presence of two men and a strange-looking woman was pointed out in the audience. The rumor began to spread that they were Venusians in disguise, the infiltrators that Adamski had spoken about a few hours earlier. One of them was wearing glasses. All three were fair-skinned and the woman had long blonde hair, but the strangest thing was her black eyes. One of the Congress participants asked them directly, "Are you or are you not Venusian?" The woman, smiling, calmly answered, "No." "Why are you here?" "Because we are interested in the matter." "Do you believe in flying discs?" "Yes." "Is it true that, as Mr. Adamski says, they are from Venus?" "Yes, they are from Venus." At this meeting was the Brazilian journalist João Martins, who also interviewed them and got the following information. Her name was Dolores Barrios, and she was a designer dressmaker. The names of the companions were Donald Morand and Bill Jarkman. They were all residents of Manhattan Beach in California. Martins asked them to let themselves to be photographed, but they refused, annoyed. They were tired of being called Venusians. According to Martins, Dolores Barrios looked very much like the painting of the Venusian Adamski had shown. The rest of the conversation was spent in isolation without talking to other congressmen. The next day, after the convention was over, the strange visitors let themselves be photographed. Today, it is said that Martins photographed her using a flash, taking her offward. Dolores got scared and ran into the woods. Soon after, a flying saucer rose from the forest, but nobody was able to take a picture of it. It was also said that the ufologist Fernando Cleto Nunes Pereira saw Dolores time later in a cinema in Rio de Janeiro. Many people claim that this woman, who called herself Dolores Barrios, was an alien infiltrator. The pictures that were taken of her are in the video descriptions for you to see. According to the legends of Tuareg, a village in the Algerian Sahara Desert, there did exist someone who survived the Atlantean tragedy. The legends about Atlantis had been the subject of historical debate for decades. If it had existed, could we believe that there were survivors who, after their escape, came to other parts of the world to tell their story? These nomadic people were much feared in the past for their plundering. They used to bury their dead in the pyramids and were blamed for the erection of different megalithic monuments scattered all over North African coast. The Tuareg claimed to be the descendants of the princess and heroine Tin Hinan, whom they attribute the founding of their village. According to the tradition, the princess came from the disappeared Atlantis, from which she managed to escape before the destruction. In their stories, they tell how Tin Hinan was related to men of great stature light hair and slit eyes, who came from the constellation of Orion. According to the transcriptions made by Calasanti, who lived in the village and recorded all its legends, the princess has supernatural abilities and told about a great flood that ended her culture. She was also able to communicate at will with the gods. Other stories mention how Tin Hinan came to the land where she settled and founded her kingdom, riding a white camel with her retinue of slaves during a journey of more than 1,000 miles through the desert. In 1925, it was discovered where she was buried, and an area that had remained hidden for 16 centuries. The monumental tomb was opened and the body of a woman almost 2 meters high was found inside. She seemed to be buried with many honors in a large burial chamber with decoration of more than 600 valuable objects. The skeleton was complete, had been dressed and adorned with 7 silver bracelets on her right arm and 7 gold ones on her left. It was dated from about 450 to 130 years AD. The funeral monument is located on a mound on a hill near an oasis in Alabesca and is the center of the necropolis of 12 other tombs in the shape of small towers. All located only 250 kilometers from the Tassili mountain range, very famous of housing some rather mysterious prehistoric paintings, with strange pictorial representations of humanoids that do not seem to flit with the history told by Orthodox archaeology. If the legends of Atlantis is true, could Tin Hinan be one of the several survivors who joined or created other races after the destruction of their land? Possibly. The proof of this would be the megalithic constructions found all over the planet. The legend of this mysterious princess, whose remains are in the Museum of El Bardo in Algeria, represents a small but important clue to that lost millennial knowledge, which could rewrite whole human history as we know it. And what do you think? Please leave us your opinion. If you like this video, give it a like and subscribe. Don't forget to activate the bell that will let you know when a new video is uploaded. See you in the next story.